questions. So I was under the impression that there were conversations that took place with the teachers, and I'm wondering how some of these things were missed, like the vertical alignment, the fact that some of these books are covered in other grade levels. I know that we've talked in the past about imbalance. When I say we, I'm talking about the school board. I remember Christine bringing up this concern about having an imbalance, that, you know, an imbalance because our units seem to feature a lot of negativity, for lack of a better word. So suggestions were made, and to the credit of our, you know, RELA professionals, changes were made to curriculum to bring more balance to that. And I don't understand why that same thing couldn't have been achieved just by us having those conversations. And I also noticed that we've spent a lot of time talking about RELA this evening. We kind of jumped right over social studies, where I noticed a lot of world history was recommended, which is interesting. So, but at any rate, why I'm a bit confused is because we spent most of the time during this presentation talking about RELA, hearing excerpts read from books, but back in April when this contract was presented to us, it was presented as a social studies consulting contract. And now we've talked about, and I've never gotten a straight answer. I haven't gotten a straight answer. I did ask you, and you said that you were asked, Mr. Adams. Sorry, you're not here, so it's hard for me to make sure I know that I'm referring to you. I asked you, Mr. Adams, in an email, why the scope seems to have changed, that you are now consulting on RELA when it was presented to us as being for social studies. And you did say that you were asked to do that, but I guess I'm just now asking in general terms of the board. This is wildly off the path of what it was intended to do. It doesn't seem like there was a lot of communication that could have saved time, quite frankly. I mean, we've paid for 60 plus hours of consulting, and a lot of these things that were given, in my mind, I mean, I was writing some of these things down. It seemed like a recitation of what Penridge is already doing. And I don't blame you for that. I'm just making observations, and I know that you're in the hot seat, but at any rate, those are my observations.
Right after hiring Vermillion, there was all of a sudden a RELA proposal that none of us had heard about that was going to be going on the agenda and we had like 24 hours, 48 hours notice, which apparently is okay with everything else, but
no, it's not.
So the idea was to move it, to have that discussion the following month and have him review. He's here reviewing and sharing that content. To your point about the negativity, I mean, I guess that's kind of my concern is, we did talk about that. There was all these units being proposed in the high school that were all negative, doom, gloom, suicide, whatever. And there's a time and place for that, but like, that shouldn't consume all of your RELA, right? Like, my concern is, and then now we're looking at 12-year-olds, and look, a car accident, you should learn, don't be, the negative impacts of drunk driving, but when you're 12, I don't know that you're necessarily thinking about drunk driving. I think you're thinking about drunk driving. I think those are topics as you become 15, 16 years old. But
right, you're not even driving.
But the point is, I have yet to see a RELA proposal that's about reading about people accomplishing great things, doing things that are positive. They're always negative, like every single time it's been negative, doom and gloom. And I know we've had that conversation before, but I feel like here we are again, and I feel like yes, you need to learn about those things, but when you're just like learning about kind of depressing negativity, I feel like
okay.
that.
And as I said, when we brought that up, there were changes that were made, and they were changes that we all voted in favor of. So I don't see why we couldn't have said the same for the middle school. And as far as deciding to change because a proposal was coming up, that's really not the role. When you tell the public that you've hired
That's not what we
someone,
did.
Did you
And
read
you
all of
haven't?
the did you read all the changes, all of the books that they did recommend?
Did we ever get
Yeah,
them?
I'm just
did we ever,
curious.
did we ever get to the point where we could, or were they paused in doing their
No,
curriculum?
no, this
and
is
they
from
never-
before, what you're referencing.
I'm
that we
talking
voted
about
on
the
before.
high school curriculum for English that we talked about. I don't know if it was after you guys were elected, because Christine was on the board and she pointed out the imbalance. And they did address it, and everybody was happy with the changes. We all had a conversation about that. But you can't go from saying in April that this is for social studies and telling the public that this is for social studies, and then changing that, and now it's for reading language arts. This is what we've all been talking about with why you need to have more research done into what you're going to be doing. There was already public comment about it, but I had it written in my own notes that we didn't do an RFP for this contract, and it's for curriculum.
Did
And
we do an
do
RFP for any of the other contracts?
I don't know, but again, if
No,
you're
we
gonna bring
didn't.
up I think that we have had several times where, again, not to beat a dead horse, but there have been other consultants that have been rejected, let go of, whatever. But you didn't do anything, and to drop it on the school board with 24 hours notice, and now it just seems to be changing day by day. This is the reason why you need to be more thoughtful in how you go about things, because it seems to be just all over the place now. And it's honestly, it's like fruit of the poison tree. Like,
So-
this started out in a way that was shady and not inspiring trust, and it just seems to be getting
It's not about shady, there's been plenty of other ones that have come in the
No, you
same
keep
thing,
saying that,
but
but
you keep
no.
pointing that out. Nope, that's your narrative.
keep saying
Yeah, but
that.
it is,
No,
but
no,
this
wait.
is the only one that was done by the board.
Yeah,
The
which
others
we,
are coming
as
from
I
the
said, in
administration.
policy 105, we have the right to do that as
Yes,
the
we
board.
do.
Yeah.
As much
But
as you want to
not
say.
with 24
No.
hours notice and no.
It was with
not even
24 hours
consulting with
notice.
the administration.
It absolutely
Not
was
consulting
24
with
hours.
the
bring it up.
teachers and the experts.
It
You're
was
ignoring them
absolutely
and
24
you're.
hours.
Listen, if they're experts and they don't need any of us, then we should not even be up on the board if they're such experts. It's not how the system works, and it's there for a reason, that's why we're bringing it in. Specific. That's our point up here. Listen.
May I address a few questions, Mr. Jordan? Or,
No,
sorry,
real quick,
Ms.
I want to say
Please, go
two more
ahead.
things before you move on to social studies. So, first off, in the contract, it states reviewing curriculum, making recommendations, not just a social studies consultant. That's
said
all.
social studies
No,
at the meeting.
don't interrupt, Joan.
Go
You
back.
asked me
You
when
said
to
so-
interrupt
no,
you.
I take my
Don't
cues
interrupt
from
me.
you.
No, we're paying
Oh
this
my
guy
God, you are
$125 an hour to watch you guys argue.
Listen, and how much do you know that we've paid other consultants? We just skip that. We're just gonna brush that under the rug, and we're not even gonna discuss it. Just because it was recommended, they were here for 4 years. We spent over $100,000. It's not even an hourly breakdown. There's nothing that's even posted, presented of what we've even paid them for. And the scrutiny that we're getting tonight and that we've been getting is absolutely hypocrisy and ridiculous. Oh my gosh, it's racist. Are you kidding me?
Yes.
Stop with the
Yes,
nonsense.
it is racist.
It is not racist.
Yes, it is.
What I got from tonight is our books are surrounded by trauma. Ms. Raber brought up Safe to Say and the partnership with the guidance counselors. Okay, I wasn't around in 2015 on the board. I was as a parent, but my kids were not in middle school at the time. I would have loved to have known that. I'm not sure if that was presented at 2015. I'm not sure if the parents of the community were even told about that. Safe to say, in my district, we do a presentation and an assembly on it. Not in curriculum, not in the English language arts classes. So,
Let the experts speak.
I'm allowed to speak. I'm allowed to speak as well. That's fine. You keep running on your train of experts,
Can
it's
I
fine.
clarify what I said about Safe to Say? I don't want to make it, I may have made a misstep if it wasn't clear. Safe to Say is done at all of our schools and it's handled at the building level. This is a layer on top of that to say we have this resource and use a guidance partnership so that my teachers, my RELA teachers are not the ones delivering that. That's not their area of expertise.
Was that all communicated to the board during that time when it was pitched, and was it communicated to
So in
families?
2015, I was a teacher at South Middle School. So I did not bring that curriculum to the board, that was a different supervisor. I'm bringing this curriculum, 7th and 8th grade, this version of it, this currently updated version that was going to come before committee to you with Safe to Say in it with a guidance partnership, because that's under my direction.
So then you are planning on presenting that as well?
The courses.
Because what I agree with Mr. Adams is that some of those values and those things should be left up to the families to decide if that should be in there. So you saying that you're making the partnership with the guidance counselors and discussing some of those deep topics from those books, you're leaving that up to the experts, not the parents, who are the ultimate experts of their children.
I don't think, wait, can we wait, just one moment.
All the parents are here, all the parents are here. Okay.
Who's saying yes to this? Who?
Only about
Who's saying yes to this?
There is going to be a point in education,
No.
you cannot possibly avoid having an overlap between difficult topics and difficult subjects and what children are going to be learning in class. If you're trying to do that, it's an impossible task. I understand that we need to be mindful and try to have balance and not, I agree with that 100%. We should not be bombarding children with negative things all the time. We should be telling them uplifting stories and sharing with them inspiring things about, people as well as the difficult things. But if you think there's going to be this complete separation between difficult topics and the classroom, you're living in a fantasy world. I mean, that's life. They have to learn about those things. You just have to be careful with how you do it.